Good morning, students. Welcome back. In this third module of the chapter, we are going to discuss about comparison of GDP. As you know, GDP means the sum total of all the final goods of services which are provided by each sector within a country at a particular time period. So, why there is a change in the importance of sector? When we are to compare the sectors, we must know the changes occur time to time in the sectors primary, secondary, and tertiary. In developed countries, in the initial stages of development, the primary sector is the most important sector because there was more employment engaged in primary sector. But with the time, the shift has been seen from primary to secondary and then secondary to tertiary. As the time passes, as the development took place, there was a shift of employment and GDP from primary to secondary, and then people they shifted from secondary to tertiary sector. The shift between the sectors in case in India, how this shift occur in India in these sectors in terms of share of each sector in GDP. The shift has been seen from primary to secondary and then secondary to tertiary sector. In terms of employment in each sector, the primary sector continues to employ the maximum people. Still, there are maximum people of our country are engaged in primary activities, are engaged in activities of the primary sector. While there has been a change in the share of three sector in GDP, a similar shift has not taken place in employment. थ्री सेक्टर्स की जीडीपी में तो चेंज हुआ है लेकिन एम्प्लॉयमेंट में चेंज नहीं हुआ है. व्हाट इज़ द रीज़न वी विल डिस्कस. नाउ दिस इज़ द ग्राफ इन विच यू कैन सी दैट massive increase in turnover for all these sectors during 20 years, which shows the way our economy grew. And this graph shows the share of sectors in GDP. Agriculture decreased substantially, that of industry remained static, and share of services grew. So particularly the growth of share of services sector was phenomenal from 35% to 55. And this is the share in providing employment that was not in tune with the share of GDP. जिस तरह से GDP शेयर हुआ तीनों सेक्टर में, एम्प्लॉयमेंट उतनी शेयर नहीं हुई है. The agriculture provided employment to 75% workers, and this decreased to 60% in 2000, which is not as big a drop as agricultural drops in GDP contribution. So on the other hand, the growth in employment provided by other two sectors was substantially low. Think, why? Why does primary sector still continue to employ maximum number of people? क्या रीज़न है कि आज भी हमारी मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन प्राइमरी सेक्टर में एम्प्लॉय है, प्राइमरी सेक्टर में एंगेज है. इन इंडिया देयर हैज़ बीन अ चेंज इन द सेक्टर्स इन द शेयर्स ऑफ थ्री सेक्टर इन GDP, but similar shift has not taken place in case of employment. More than half of the workers are still working in primary sector, but even then they are producing only a quarter of GDP. What is the reason? The reason is, first, enough job opportunities were not created in secondary and tertiary sector. This is the reason that why most of the people are still engaged in agriculture sector. Existence of underemployment and disguised unemployment in primary sector. Primary sector employs more people in agriculture than required. So even if we remove, the production will not suffer. So extra people are already engaged in primary sector. In this sector, people appear to work, but they are working less than their potential and so are not fully employed. Third, therefore, there exists underemployment and disguised unemployment, due to which the contribution of primary sector to GDP is less even though it employs more number of people. So, thank you.